Do you have the mindset for love? Hi there, I'm Dr. Carol. Thanks for joining me. The commercialization of Valentine's Day makes many people think about relationships and romance and love this time of year. Now, if you're a young single girl, maybe Valentine's Day says to you, maybe something will happen good this year. If you're a guy, maybe Valentine's Day is only again. And if you're married, it's possible Valentine's Day simply reminds you that the romance that you had hoped for just isn't happening. The mindset for love can help those things. Many times when people say, I love you, what they are really saying is, I love the way I feel when I'm with you. I love the way you make me feel. But the corollary of that is, if you stop making me feel that way, well, I'm not going to love you anymore. That is not love. But many people think of love in that way as a feeling, that it's primarily how I feel about you. And if I don't feel that way anymore, I must not love you anymore. Feelings are fickle. It doesn't matter what the feeling is, good, bad, or indifferent, whether it's anger or excitement or joy or sadness or pain or hope or the feeling of being in love. All of those feelings are temporary. That's our nature of the human experience. And so building a relationship on a feeling is on unstable ground. That foundation will not last because the feelings will change. The kind of foundation, the only one that is strong enough to support an ongoing, true, loving relationship is based on the kind of covenant commitment with which God loves us. We cannot generate love out of ourselves. The New Testament, 1 John says, God is love. And that kind of love makes all the difference in the world. God loves you and me extravagantly, generously. He takes the initiative. He gives more than enough. There's nothing that you or I can do that can make him love you any more or less. He just does sacrificially. And that is the kind of love that is strong enough to support an ongoing, lasting relationship. And again, we cannot generate that kind of love within ourselves. The Bible also says we love because he first loved us. When we get into human relationships where love is involved, that can get all complicated. Now, our English word love, and you may have heard this, incorporates many different Greek words when the New Testament was first written. And frankly, that gives a much more accurate and picturesque description of the kinds of things we're talking about. When we talk about this kind of love that is a strong enough foundation for a lasting relationship, we're talking about agape, the God kind of love that is covenant, commitment, lasting, giving, not primarily taking. We can only grow into that kind of love by first accepting it from God and then allowing that to pass on through us to others. When we do love others with that kind of love, things change. Relationships can last and grow and flourish. Now, relationships always take two people. There are, in our sinful, messed up world, relationships that love is not, on the outside at least, going to change. There are toxic people, there are evil people, and it doesn't matter in those relationships how much you give, things aren't going to change. That's a minority. Most of the time, when you focus on that kind of love, that mindset of giving love, things are going to change. I can't tell you how many times a married person, husband or wife, writes to me or talks to me and says, everything would be so much different if my spouse would only, Or if my spouse would stop doing what I don't like, if my spouse would change, everything would be okay. Focusing on what the spouse is or isn't doing that is not like what you want. The wise few focus on what you can do. Your own thoughts, behaviors, actions, how you are bringing yourself to the relationship. If you change how you are, the relationship is going to change. Now, there's not a guarantee that everything is going to go as you wish, but things will not stay the same if you become different. If you approach the relationship from a giving, interested, inviting, safe, hopeful, joyful, encouraging, uplifting mindset, the relationship will be different. And that applies across all kinds of relationships. It applies when you're volunteering for people that need help, that can't help themselves in a certain way. And you are offering giving of yourself to help. It applies for parents. It applies for friends. When you lock arms with someone else to support and encourage and walk through life together, it absolutely applies in marriage. You cannot survive a marriage by only looking for what you are going to get. No relationship will supply every human need. There are things that only God can supply, and there are problems that may not be completely solved in this world. Keeping an eternal view reminds us that this is not the end. But I can guarantee you that coming with a mindset of love that is focused on covenant and giving will make all the difference in the world. That comes from God. So the mindset for love is opening yourself to receive that kind of love from God, letting it fill you, and then allowing it to flow through you to others, whether that's in your marriage or otherwise. I can't think of a better question, of a better prayer than this one. God, who do you need me to be to my spouse or to this person in this season? That opens you to hear God's perspective and to allow His love to fill you so you know and understand how to pass that love along. God, who do you need me to be to my spouse or to this person in this season? I hope this has been helpful. Through this month of February, we're focusing on love and relationships in our online community, the Fully Alive group. If you're watching this when it first comes out, tomorrow, Tuesday evening, we're going to be focusing on learning to love. How can you learn to love? I believe that's the reason God puts us in relationships, and we'll unpack what that looks like in some practical ways of learning to love. You can come to fullyalivegroup.com, and I would love you to join us. You can request some resources that give you samples of the kinds of video sessions and tip sheets that we make available inside the Fully Alive group. And I would love you to become part of our community there, fullyalivegroup.com. I pray that you receive God's kind of love to fill up your heart and then pass that on to others. And in the process, God will bring that love back to you through other people as well. And until next time, may God bless you.